Working out too much can make you fat. It's true. We're going to talk about the 7 ways doing too much is making it impossible to lose body fat, or worse, you're getting fatter. Wow. Let's go.
Wow. Let's hear it.
Thought I'd hook everybody with a really crazy statement. No, I actually thought this would be a good topic because I was on the phone last night with our customer service department, and I was talking to Margaret, and she was talking about how there's people that write in and ask questions, and how it's hard for them to understand or to even believe that doing less would result in better results. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do this as a fit tip, because people have a tough time understanding this. On its surface, it doesn't make sense. How can moving less be better for fat loss? Aren't I supposed to burn more calories? But that's not exactly what's happening. And I'll start with the first reason. And by the way, everything that's listed here is backed by independent studies, peer-reviewed research. And so one of the ways that doing too much means you're doing more than what is ideal for your body, okay? And what determines whether or not what's ideal really is determined on the person, their fitness level, their genetics, their current lifestyle. And this can change throughout your life. If you go through a stressful period of your life, then you need to do less exercise oftentimes. If your hormones out of balance, if you're a beginner, I think you guys get the point. But one of the first ways it makes you fatter is training too much creates very strong cravings. In particular, and they've done studies on this specifically, for hyperpalatable foods. So when you're overtraining and you're sending this really loud, consistent stress signal that your body's not necessarily recovering from very well, one of the ways that your body tries to adapt to this is it tries to comfort you with hyperpalatable foods and also have you eat more calories to try to compensate from the overtraining.
The interesting part about that, now, is like something related to cortisol? Is that what's going on with that? Like that's causing that? Part of it. So
there's a psychological aspect, which is just overtraining doesn't feel good. You might ignore it because
your body's naturally searching for more energy.
Comfort. Yeah. Well, your body's searching for comfort. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Anabolic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. We also have a sale, MAPS Split and the Anabolic Metabolism Bundle of Programs, 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code July50 for that discount. Back to the show. And so you're going to have cravings for food that produce those good feelings. The second reason is too much stress. For most of human history, one of the main sources of chronic stress was inability to get enough food. And so when your body's under a lot of stress, what can happen to some people, many people, is their hunger or their cravings skyrocket. And you see this repeatedly with workouts that are too hard.
Well, what's interesting about this too is that all that stress, under eating like that, also results in poor sleep. Yeah. And poor sleep also ramps up the cravings.
We're going to get to
vicious
all this
cycle. I know. I was trying not to skip ahead for once, but yeah, that was like, those are both like totally tied in together.
They are 100%. But yeah, I mean, this was me. When I overtrain, I just noticed that I have to use more of my willpower to say no to the foods for me that are the triggers, like potato chips and stuff like that. And I noticed this with clients. When I would bring them down from overtraining to a more appropriate levels, they didn't struggle so much with eating foods that weren't, maybe quote unquote good for them.
Yeah. I mean, this is why I brought up the other day, I used the baking a cake analogy, because so many people connect working out to like a job or a sport. And in those scenarios, the more you work, the more effort you put.
More hours, more money.
Yeah, but it's not. It's more like baking a cake, where it's like, more ingredients, more temperature, more time is not what makes a better cake. It's more like that than it is.
There's a perfect amount.
Yeah, and anything above or below that results in less results. And the
That's
further
right.
you get from that, the worse it is.
That's right. Next up, and you kind of said this a little bit, Adam, is your cortisol level becomes elevated when it shouldn't be. So the way cortisol works, cortisol is not a bad hormone. It gets labeled a bad hormone. It is the stress hormone, so it does go up when you're under a lot of stress. And what it does is it releases glycogen from the liver, and it burns more energy, right? It gives you energy. So if you were to get a spike in cortisol, you'd feel kind of wired and hyper. and it gets elevated during times of stress. But when it's what it's supposed to look like is it's supposed to rise in the morning when you wake up and slowly go down throughout the day, and it's lowest in the evening so you can sleep. But when you're overtrained, when you're doing too much, the cortisol starts to look high all the time. And then if you keep pushing it, you get an inverted cortisol numbers where it's low in the morning, where you're dragging butt, you're taking tons of caffeine to get going. And then at the end of the night, you're exhausted, but you're wired. You're wired but tired, and you can't sleep.
You're not producing melatonin like you normally would.
No.
It's kind of like that inverse relationship between the two of those. Yeah, so you kind of really screw up that whole balance to where it interrupts your sleep.
And too much cortisol all the time, or inappropriate cortisol levels, or things that are outside of what would be considered optimal, promotes visceral, in particular, visceral body fat.
Yeah.
And belly fat in particular. Women, when they're high stress all the time, what they'll start to notice is their fat, the way that they store body fat starts to change, and it starts to happen more around the midsection than it would normally happen.
This is a really difficult one for people to connect the dots to, because there's almost this positive feedback you get. We call them cortisol junkies, right? The client who undereats and overtrains, and they love the circuit.
You feel energy from it.
They get the hype from it.
So, I mean, I know you guys have had this. I mean, try telling somebody who, does that type of training, that gets this cortisol dump of energy right afterwards and goes, there's nothing you can tell me that tells me, you're going to tell me that is bad for me, because I always feel so good right afterwards. You get this sense of accomplishment, you get this cortisol dump. And so they're getting this positive reinforcement of, this is the right thing. It feels right. And so trying to convince that client that, no, this is not necessarily the right or appropriate dose for you, and what you're feeling is just the initial dump of cortisol, and that also that feeling of accomplishment, it is not a positive sign that this is the right or appropriate workout. That's really hard to convince somebody that when they're in that.
Right. And by the way, cortisol junkies tend to have other attributes to their personality that come along with this. Not always, but they tend to be late, or they tend to show up last minute. They tend to place themselves in stressful situations. They have go, gotta move, don't want to sit still for whatever reason.
Procrastinators.
Why? Because that pumps out more cortisol and gives you more of that artificial energy.
Stress in
which,
there. Again,
cortisol, it breaks muscle down and it promotes fat storage. But when it's high, it gives you this kind of wired energy until it stops working. And then what happens is your cortisol then is crashed. Yep. This is when you get people, what we used to say in adrenal fatigue, they don't call it that anymore, where they're just, what is wrong with me? I feel dead. I feel hyper fatigued. What this person did is they just pushed it for too long. They kept going until essentially the drugs wore out. And now they're in a position where it's like, you got to take 2 months off exercise completely. And I've had clients like this, where you got to take them way, way back just to heal their body.
Yeah.
Next up, it hammers your testosterone. This is for both men and women. Low testosterone in men and women have the same symptoms: less muscle mass, less strength, more fat gain, less motivation, less energy, lower libido. That all happens from low testosterone. The difference between men and women is, men have higher amounts of testosterone than women do. But overtraining, especially in combination with undereating, this is a fantastic way to lower your testosterone. I mean, in a man, you can overtrain him for 3 days and bring his calories way down, and you'll see a drop in testosterone immediately.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
So testosterone is this anabolic, fat-burning, muscle-building hormone, and overtraining brings it back down. Essentially what you're doing, we talked about cortisol, now we're at testosterone, is you're creating a hormone profile that's favorable to fat gain and unfavorable to muscle gain. So you're fighting an uphill battle is what ends up happening. And the slope gets steeper and steeper the harder you keep hammering in this direction.
You stop signaling muscle building, and so now it goes to fat reserves.
That's
because
right.
You're trying to survive. And really, that's the whole hook at the beginning. That's why there's truth in it, because what are you actually signaling right now? You're signaling to store energy, to store fat.
Do you think this is more or less difficult for like men or women to feel it? Like, do you think men, because they're used to higher levels, tend to be able to see this or feel this easier than a woman? Like in a woman with that has lower testosterone levels, maybe she doesn't notice as much. I don't
know, but I will say from experience, I'd love your guys' feedback on this. It was harder for me to get women to understand that they're overtraining than men. These women, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. I think maybe because they had a lot of responsibilities, kids, got to do this, got to do that, stay busy. But this was women.
It's the association with movement and fat. That whole like
maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because like it's almost like a real simple equation. You know, most people will just identify if I move this, I'll keep the fat off.
Right.
And that's it. It's as baseline as it gets.
Yeah, and I think it's also guys are typically more interested in muscle gain, so it's easier to convince them you're not getting stronger. Right. Whereas a woman's like,
well, I don't want to get bulk. I don't want, it's
I don't want to gain weight.
I don't care. I just want to get rid of my belly fat.
Yeah, but I mean, if you hammer your hormones, you guys, like, good luck building muscle and burning body fat. Here's what it feels like. It feels like I'm working out like crazy. I'm training real hard, and I have an extra 15 pounds that won't come off my body.
Yeah.
And I'm not progressing.
Yeah. And
it's like, what's going on here? And then the fear is, if I cut back, am I going to gain even more body fat?
Yeah.
No, you'll get leaner.
Right.
Is what's going to happen. Next up, screws up your sleep. This is actually one of the first signs that you're doing too much, is that you have restless sleep, hard time falling asleep, or you fall asleep right away, but then you wake up throughout the night. Those are all signs that you're overtrained, you're overdoing it.
Yeah, the point I was making earlier about this is that,
and that messes everything up.
Well, all of these are connected. So it's like these are 7 different ways that it can make you fat, and it's like, but if you're overtraining, you're undereating, you're getting them all. This is all probably happening. It's some people worse than others, but typically all these come together, and they all, I think, make each other worse.
That's right. So
you talk about the cravings and stuff like that earlier. It's like, your cravings and on the undereating and overtraining, and then you're also not getting sleep, which then promotes the low testosterone, which is also, I mean,
elevated cortisol,
fatigue, it's just brain fog, all these other symptoms.
Yeah, they just all keep feeding each other. And then the hard part is you're in it, and you're in it all the time, that it becomes your new normal.
That's right.
And so you don't think it's bad. I mean, how many people have you asked or talked to in the middle of all this, and you ask them how they feel, and they're like, I feel fine. I feel fine.
Until you get them out of it.
Until they get out of it, and then they go, normal. Oh, shit. I didn't know I was supposed to feel this good. It's like, you just got, I mean, that just shows you how resilient we are as humans, this ability to adapt to all these things and survive still. And keep going. And then you just sooner or later go like, oh, okay, this is normal. You don't know what good feels like.
Yeah, oftentimes the people in this situation didn't come seek me out until the signs were so loud that they were afraid.
Yeah.
Why is my hair falling out? Why am I breaking out? Why is my energy just in the floor all day long? Like, what's wrong with me? And it's all this stuff. It also can cause muscle loss, for sure. Overtraining is a great way to get your body to pare muscle down. And this is because your hormones are leveraged in a way to do so. And you're just beating the crap out of yourself. So you go to the gym, and at best, nothing progresses. At worst, why am I feeling weaker? Why am I feeling more fatigued? I used to be able to lift this much. Now I can only lift this much. What's happening with my body? And by the way, that muscle loss in combination with everything else we're saying, it's a great way to slow your metabolism down.
Yeah.
It's a great way to make it easier to gain more body fat. And I can tell you countless stories of women that I trained, or that trainers that worked for me trained, where they were eating 1,200 calories a day and working out a lot, and still had body fat to lose and couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, how's that possible? The body will adapt remarkably well to doing something like that. And it's a scary place to be, because the advice is work out less and eat more, which to the person sounds like, oh, you want me to eat more and work out less? I'm just going to balloon up.
Strength is a good measure for this as well. Like if you're working out and you've just been in this plateau almost for, I mean, some people I've trained have been in a plateau for like a year. And it's like, and they don't realize that, that's a problem. You know, it's just like they're on this continual sort of
hamster wheel.
Yeah, hamster wheel. And if you're not getting stronger, if you're not promoting strength in any direction, like that's a big problem you should address.
I actually think that's probably more common than not, because they normally don't come to you until they've been spinning their wheels for
a while,
or unless they have like a major health issue that pops up, or something like you said, like hair loss or something crazy. Most people, it's just they've been in this massive plateau for a year, and they've seen themselves either stabilize or go down in strength, and then finally they're just like, okay, I've tried all the things. And normally trying all the things is adding more stuff to all the stuff they were
Always
doing, and it's not getting them the results. And then so finally, okay, let me hire a professional. At that point, you got to reverse all that out.
That's right. Next up is it destroys your gut health. This is a fact.
And now, is that just due to the inflammation?
Inflammation,
and the gut lining,
the big part of it. Yeah, because when you're chronically inflamed, even if it doesn't feel like lots of pain, your gut, if you get gut inflammation, the tight junctions in your gut open,
leads to those.
You get leaky gut syndrome. You start to have food intolerances. It can slow down gastric emptying. So what does that mean? Potential for things like SIBO. So oftentimes people who do this also start to notice gut issues like bloat after eating certain meals. I can't eat the same foods I used to. Gas, constipation. It can definitely look like that. And there's lots of studies on this, by the way. Like hard training athletes who are always balancing on the line of doing too much and doing enough, right? Because athletes aren't just about getting stronger and faster. They also have to practice their skill as often as possible. So in many cases, they're training like right on that line. You look at the data on gut health issues with athletes, and it's astronomical.
Yep.
Because they're constantly pushing and training their bodies. And these are athletes who are well trained. We're not even talking about the average person who's overtraining, which is even much more difficult. And then finally, in my experience, working out a lot can oftentimes promote disordered eating. Now, what does it look like? Well, it looks like this. Like I just beat the crap out of myself in the gym. I can barely move. I'm going to eat that burrito, or I'm going to eat that whatever because I deserve it, or because I burned those calories off. Not realizing that you didn't burn that many calories.
Yeah.
You really didn't burn a lot of calories, especially if you've been doing it for a long time.
Your body gets more efficient each time you attempt it.
Absolutely. But this can definitely promote that, like restrict, and then binge.
Yeah.
Type. Or on the flip, I binged. Now I'm going to go beat myself up even harder
which is
in the
even
gym.
a worse spot.
Yeah, I think the most common thing I see in this area is the restrict for such a long period of time. And even like the binge, it doesn't look like a binge. In other words, like you have somebody who's like, and this is part of the reason why they just can't figure this out, is like, man, out of my eat, like dial to them is like 1,200 calories, super low calorie per, and they do that for long periods of time. And then they finally have like a weekend where they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to enjoy myself. And it's not like crazy, but it's like enough to put on a substantial amount of body fat on them because they're so used to being so low. And so that's just part of the like, this doesn't make sense. Like I don't eat fast food. I don't do it. They always list off all the things they don't do, but yet I keep putting on this body fat, and it's because they go these long periods of so low of calorie, and then they overindulge a little bit. And 600 calories over when you only eat 1,200 calories is 50% of your intake. Yeah. And so you're that 600 calories affects that person differently than somebody who has a roaring metabolism or a healthy metabolism that they consume. Say their maintenance is 2,600 calories or 2,800 calories a day.
600 calories, nothing now.
Nothing. That person doesn't really feel that effect at all. But the person who doesn't eat that way, and then all of a sudden one day has 600 calories over, which easily can sneak into someone's diet, and now all of a sudden they feel like they put on all this body fat.
Yeah. When I had clients who got in a really good place metabolically, fast metabolism, strong, they'd go on vacation and they'd come back and they'd be so shocked that they didn't gain all this body fat. When I used to go on vacation, I would gain weight.
Yeah.
What's happening now? It's like it's totally different. Your body is not the same. Your metabolism is much faster.
All that rest recovery.
Insulin sensitivity is better. Like you were totally fine. Versus what they might have experienced before, where they take a little bit of time off and go eat, and it's like, oh my God, what happened? I'm holding all this water. I'm holding all this bloat. All right. I have been reading studies. So Organifi's Happy Drops, very popular because they lift your mood. So one of the active ingredients, saffron, it increases circulating levels of dopamine and serotonin in the brain. There's studies show this, so it makes you happier. You know what else it does that I found studies on?
What?
Makes you horny. I'm going to read you guys some studies on libido and saffron.
Now, is that actually happening, or is that more of a correlation of you're just, because you're in a better mood, you're also, because that's me, that's how I work. Like if I'm in a good mood, I'm more likely to want to have sex. If I'm not in a good mood, I'm not
it's direct. So I'll read some studies for you. There's a 2022 randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial found that women 18 to 55 with severe sexual dysfunction, they took just 15 milligrams of saffron twice daily, so 30 milligrams. They showed significant improvements in female sexual function index scores.
Wow.
Particularly in arousal, lubrication, and satisfaction compared to placebo. Another study showed that women taking 30 milligrams of saffron daily for 4 weeks had increased sexual desire, lubrication compared to the placebo group. A 2024 trial showed increase in libido, arousal, orgasm, and satisfaction in women with sexual dysfunction. In men, Men, they took 20 men with erectile dysfunction for 10 days, and they had, I like how these studies crack me up, by the way. Yeah. I'll just read you the study. Improvements in erectile dysfunction, including tip and base rigidity and tumescence. How do they test that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's rigid,
Just in
bro.
the tip, though. Not the base.
How do they test that like a machine? Took 4 pounds to bend it in half this time. You guys. 2018 review of 6 studies indicate that saffron significantly improved libido and overall sexual satisfaction.
Wow.
In men. Yes.
Wow. Well, and just like that,
particularly,
Happy
by
Drop
the way,
sold out.
particularly,
Can we just hand these out?
here's what's interesting. Particularly in those with antidepressant-induced erectile dysfunction. So sometimes when people will go on a prescription antidepressant, they'll have issues with sexual function.
Yeah.
So
that's a common side effect of like SSRIs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
inability to orgasm, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Wild, right?
That
so
is
happy
wild.
drops.
You said you said 15
More benefits.
15 to 30 milligrams a day. How many of those do you have?
30
How many
milligrams
does Justin have to eat in order to get?
I mean,
that?
I have 4, so
I think there's 15 per 2 or per 1.
For 2 gummies, there's 30 milligrams.
There you go.
Oh, for 2 is 30.
Yeah, so 1 is 15.
Damn, Justin.
Yeah.
60.
I'm
Tell us
riding
what
high
60
right
does.
now.
Hey, he just ate 6 of them.
Keep your distance, all right? That's all I got to say.
That has got to be one of their fastest selling products.
It is. And
And
it just, I'm
reselling.
sure after that commercial you just did, it's sold out for sure within.
I mean, listen.
Better get on there.
Don't
quick.
believe me. Look it up, everybody. And by the way, saffron.
It's science, you guys.
I got to tell you guys this also. I was looking it up because you know the supplement space. It's garbage. It's like full of lies. Lots of lies in terms of a company selling it has this ingredient. Actually, it doesn't. You know what a lot of companies are doing?
Huh.
So saffron's blowing up. There's a particular extract of it.
Oh, God. So there's.
Organifi uses one called Saffractive. This is the one that you'll see in a lot of studies. It is standardized. It's got the active ingredients.
Is it
it's
herb?
pure. It is. It's used
Flour.
in food.
Because I mean,
It's
you
a flour.
cook with
It's
it,
the,
right?
It's a flour. Yeah,
It's
a
part of the
flour.
flour.
Yeah. So it's been used in medicine for a long time, in natural medicine. But anyway, what companies are doing is they're not using saffron. They're using a little bit of saffron, and then they're watering it down with like turmeric, which is good for you, but ain't going to give you what saffron does.
Yeah.
Because it's the same color. So the capsules will look orange or whatever, and they're faking it.
Of course.
Yeah, and there's no quality control.
Always the snake.
You know,
oil
because it's a
people.
flour, do they make like, can you make like a tea out of it then?
Well, it's used in cooking a lot, like Persian cooking and things like that.
Yeah.
So, you could probably make a saffron tea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my sister-in-law, they're all big on like taking like the real flour. They have one of those, I don't know.
Oh, do they actually get like dandelions?
Yeah, and they put them in and they have one of those little tea brewing things. Have you ever seen them before? They're like a little metal thing, and then you put the real flour.
That's the way to do it.
I know, it's cool. And then they have a little candle thing that lights heats under it. They're all into it. Like
Yeah.
I was wondering about that because my grandma always used to put like dandelions in salad, and I was like, oh, why am I eating flowers?
Oh,
It was
really?
just weird. Yeah. I'm like, what did you just go like grab it outside and just put
grass
it
on
on
there.
top? Like, I'm not an animal.
That's how we cured every illness that our dog had when I was a kid.
she was onto something, I
My dad
guess.
would have him eat grass.
that
was
that is a
Sicilian
go-to
remedy.
And okay, so
He's okay. Let him eat
now
grass.
what that is, it makes them throw up.
I guess.
No, it does. It totally does.
yeah.
And there's something in grass
it
that
calms
makes
their stomach somehow.
Yeah, there's
too.
I don't know. Well, it gets out whatever. So if they got something that
Of all things dogs eat, it's grass that makes them puke. I've seen dogs eat all kinds of horrible shit.
well, they'll do it intentionally themselves.
Yeah.
You'll see it when a dog has got an upset stomach or whatever, that they'll intentionally eat the grass and throw it
It's
out.
so
And
habit
there's something
for
in the
my
grass
dogs
does
that
it.
they don't even throw up anymore. They just
They just eat it?
Just eat it.
They just mow your lawn?
What are you? They just turn into cows.
Yeah.
somehow.
So saffron, a spice derived from
it's
the crocus sativus flower, commonly known as saffron crocus. So again,
Crocus
Happy
sativus.
Drops uses the extract from a company that this is where they get the studies from. Is they use like standardized.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, count on Drew.
It's the world's most expensive spice
It is.
It is.
How much does it cost per whatever? That's
per ounce or
interesting.
per gram.
Interesting. Now, is that because of how beneficial
What
it
about,
is?
what about
Well, it's
trouble?
so
rare.
It's very hard to get. So it's the stigma from the flower, the little thing that pokes up from
That's the
inside
saffron.
the flower.
Oh, so it takes a lot.
So it takes a lot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't know that was the most expensive.
Yeah.
That's wild. Hey, speaking of tea,
The base.
Is that what is that? So in here's a sci-fi nerd thing for you. Isn't it always spice? Is what in the sci-fi movies?
That's in Dune.
that's just in Dune.
Oh, I thought the other ones have lots of
No.
spice. Is that what you think it is? I think it's saffron.
No,
Yeah.
it's in there. It's in the desert.
It's like crystal meth or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
dude.
I don't know.
Do they grow it out there? Is that where they? I can't remember. I don't remember
Do
seeing.
they grow what?
The spice. I don't
In
remember.
Dune?
It's
I
Do they
it's
show
just
it?
in
they
the,
mine for it.
I know they
yeah.
talk about it, but I don't remember recalling the movie ever seeing it.
Oh yeah. What does it say? What's the price there, Doug?
So 1 gram, it looks like around $15.
Wow,
1 gram.
that is expensive.
How much is a
what
gram
about
of-
truffle? I mean, does that
How,
count as
how much is a
spice?
gram? That's not a spice.
Okay.
That's a mushroom.
Why do you look over me like
How
that?
much is a gram of weed? Trying to compare. Just trying to compare
Well,
the two.
3.5 grams is what
well.
you would sell an eighth. That's what it is. So you're talking about like $50, $40. Well, now it's down to like $30 these days.
Wow, so it's more expensive than weed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, we should get in the business.
All right, listen. Tea. You brought up tea using your own metal.
Yeah.
You know why everybody should do that?
Why?
You know what a high source of microplastics tea bags are?
Oh God, really?
Oh
bags?
yes,
Yes.
a
Really?
lot.
Are we just finding
I,
that
well, I
everything we're
imagine
putting in our
you're
body-
dumping hot water on it.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So buy
son of a-
loose leaves. And
Now,
then
okay,
get
now I
your
gotta
own.
think in the herbal tea world, because that's very hippie-esque, that there would be like tea bags that they've made that are like that's got to be a thing, right?
Dude, are we slowly turning into
There's got to
action
be like
figures?
some made out of hemp or something that is way healthier and better for you. There's no way.
I'm sure there's something.
I
There's
know
no
you
way
should-
everybody's making tea bags out of these microplastics, and we just
I think
no one
what
ever
you need,
saying
there are bags that are made out of papers.
There's gotta
paper.
be.
But then most bags now are made out of like plastic, like little fine fibers. You know, because consumers like them better.
Why wouldn't we use like hemp for something like that?
I don't know.
Let's look it up.
I mean, you can get cotton tea bags.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there's other ways to do it. Obviously,
but
the steel ball.
but the normal like Lipton one, right? So you
oh
can-
yeah, that's probably plastic.
wow,
Oh yeah,
such bullshit.
I know. You'd probably drink the most tea, huh?
Oh man, we've been
I drink a lot.
plastic
I
tea
drink a lot
I
of
don't
bags.
drink a lot of tea
I have,
actually.
I have
don't?
tea every other night.
What kind of tea?
I like the chamomile.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Yeah,
one.
it's like
Is
my-
that because I taught you that, or did you drink it before I said
No,
that?
we've always had that. Katrina's a big tea drinker. Her whole family are like we have one of the, like I said, the little candle. We have all that stuff.
Yeah. I have.
But I know. I honestly, I just throw the bag in there. But I mean, I had no idea.
It's full of plastic.
Yeah.
My I have in-laws that are English.
Can't win.
The English are crazy about tea.
Yeah,
dude.
that's everything is around.
When
tea.
they come visit, she brings her own tea. She actually flies and brings it to my house.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, you brought your own tea? She's like,
I mean,
"Yeah."
Katrina's my sister-in-law is like that. She shows up and she comes with her tea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just
I got more bad news for you, Adam. Something you love doing. Did you know that scented candles are some of the worst offenders when it comes to
I'm bring on the cancer,
xenoestrogens?
bro. I'm bring on the cancer. I don't even care.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
that's
on!
like,
Don't
dude.
joke like that.
I mean,
What are you doing?
isn't there
It's just like
there's
no way I'm
homemade
getting rid of that.
options that are like these fat and
There are, and I'll get to that. But
okay.
scented candles
I was talking to Courtney about
often
this.
contain phthalates, which are xenoestrogens, which bind your estrogen receptors. You know how you say you get sensitive nipples?
Yep.
It might be from this. Then there's also
I said
there's
that.
also, there's also volatile organic compounds, semi-volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter. Did you know some scented candles produce as much particulate matter as exhaust? What? Yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. So you're smelling what you're smelling in is just bad, bro. It is not.
just lovely toxic
It is
fumes.
not good. All right. So there's some good options for you, bro.
Yeah, but how much does it level up a night of sex though? It's like, and you have to ask yourself, like, is that
you
worth
burn
it?
off
I thought
all
you
those-
did it by yourself and then had like
That too,
a bath
whatever, all the
and-
time.
Okay.
So I've replaced all my candles with actual beeswax candles,
There you go.
unscented.
That's
They
it.
smell great.
That's it.
Unscented smells great.
Yeah, it
Beeswax
smells
has
like
its own
beeswax.
lemony
It has its
smell.
own smell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
really
told
good.
you that
These are
the listener who sent me some like vanilla smelling one that I don't have to burn. Just sitting in the room puts off this incredible smell.
It just
Now,
throws off chemicals.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, it's probably scented oil.
Yeah.
So you can use scented oils.
Yeah.
Not scented oils, but there's like
Yeah,
organic oils or
essential
real oils.
oils.
Like
We use
essential oils. That's
yeah,
it.
we use essential oils.
That'll do it. You can also get beeswax. The problem with beeswax is they burn fast, and they're expensive.
And they're bright though. They're great.
Oh, they're more bright.
They're more bright.
Yeah, yeah. We used to burn
All right,
candles
do
all the time.
you use candles at your house a lot?
A lot.
You are a big candle guy too. See,
Yeah,
I'll
you know.
act out. Just let me take all the heat, but you don't ever step in and say,
No,
like,
I don't get scented candles. I've gotten rid of those years ago.
but you do the bathtub and candle thing too.
I don't
right?
do bathtubs.
I get used to organic smells.
I don't do bathtubs,
Big-
but I
Hey,
love candles.
hey.
Actually, almost every dinner, if I have somebody
yourself?
over, I will have candles.
I thought you were doing it by yourself.
No, I don't
was
do that
gonna
by
be sad
myself.
right now.
Him with his
With a violin playing in the background.
Doug lighting a candle by himself. Dylan, you know what this is? What's happening here? This is when Doug and Adam are on the phone late at night with each other with
right.
their scented candles.
Oh, here comes the jealousy.
And they're talking about
jealous.
Not really.
Jealous because no one calls him.
Not Justin and I are sending each other memes.
Yeah, we send memes. And
Yeah, like
weird
horrible,
shit.
horrible memes.
What are you talking about? Justin does not answer his phone once he leaves here.
Yeah, it's true.
Once Justin leaves here, his phone's on.
Him and I both.
I'm driving. Yeah, I was like, he can't be driving
I have to
fucking 9 hours.
decompress from all your
This guy's like, sorry, I'm driving. I'm like, this guy is not driving.
Hey, why do you always say you're driving?
Yeah,
It does.
he does. He puts that.
Hey, don't expose my hack.
Yeah, I should.
Okay.
It took me a while to figure it out because I feel like I go text him.
Adam just texted me. I'm like,
He's like, I'm driving
Running
home.
outside.
And then I go,
No,
I do it
that's not what
again
it is,
like
bro.
4
He
hours
literally
later.
texts you back. I'm driving right now.
Yes,
Please
it's not even the automated one. There's spelling errors. I'm like, wait a second. iPhone doesn't misspell that.
I'm telling you, it's brilliant. You guys.
That's exactly
I'm
right.
on to your bullshit, dude.
Hey, speaking of cancers, did you guys know what the most common cancer in young men is? We have to talk about this because we got young men that listen.
And young men?
In young men,
So it's not prostate
between
cancer.
age I think it's 18 to 35 or something like that. What's the most common cancer?
Colon?
Nope.
Skin cancer?
Nope. Testicular cancer.
Testicular still is. I would have guessed prostate would have been like for.
No, testicular cancer is a young man cancer typically. Doesn't mean you can't get it when you get older.
What's so different about that and like prostate cancer and why
One's
the
on your balls.
No, I know that. But I mean, like you would think they're closely related as far as how you would get them and why
No,
not at all.
No, not at all.
Huh.
But yeah, testicular cancer. So what I did is I looked up because here's the thing about testicular cancer: very curable. Usually because people often notice it right away and it gets treated.
We gotta get rid of one of them.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes
Most
you gotta
of the
lose
time,
it.
right?
You gotta lose a tesi, and then the other one picks up the work
Brutal.
of the one that you lost. But
what from though?
what is it from?
Yeah, like how do you like fondling them too much? Like what do you get it from?
you
I feel like all
don't give yourself
the moms are saying that to their boys. You keep playing with that much, and you might get testicular cancer.
Oh my god!
New way to
Remember like the Harry Palm thing that everyone used to
your
say.
pants.
You give yourself testicular cancer. You keep playing with those.
I don't know how you do it, Adam, but I just don't follow my balls. All right, sorry, Doug. This went too far. Anyway, speaking of which,
You brought it up.
I said we got to educate people. So self checks are very important. So what you do essentially is once a month you're supposed to check your testicles, and you're looking for consistency, symmetry,
Spectacles, testicles.
Yeah, and you don't want what you're looking for are lumps or hard nodules.
Ooh.
Is what you're looking for. Now there are natural things in the testicles like the epididymitis. I think I'm not saying that right. The spermatic cord. These are naturally on there, but you're looking for hard lumps, swelling, asymmetries. And so when men do this, the risk is super low because once you catch it, it gets treated very easily. Yeah.
Now, what are you reading to come across something like that? How does this come up?
I was trying to think of things to talk about on the podcast. So I looked it up.
I got an idea.
Well, I mean, every physical, that was like part of the protocol, right? And until they started to like suggest, hey, you can do this and check it yourself. I told you my story about that.
Justin
That
was just,
awkward.
he was just
I
signing
got
up
an
for
awkward.
it.
I remember I shared mine.
Yeah, I
too,
was just already ready. I'm like, pants off.
A lot of
And then
creeps out there back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a doctor.
Came in. It was a doctor, dude.
This is some guy.
It's a front desk
Do
kid.
you have experience?
It was a lady and she was a doctor. Okay.
I thought I had.
scared her.
I told you, I thought I had an issue because I was at this point. I had somebody in my family just.
You think you have an issue?
Well,
always,
listen,
bro.
I was traumatized. Somebody in my family was young. They got cancer and they died. And I was hyper vigilant for a little while. And I was taking a shower one day and I thought, what is this? So I was so scared that I went to the doctor, had them examine me. They're like, no, you're fine. I said, no, I want an ultrasound. I did the whole thing.
Oh my god.
They're like, you're fine, bro. I'm like, okay, dude. Yeah. But I was a little hypochondriac. That whole
Like you're normal guy. Just some of them look weird. That's all.
Speaking of awkward, how awkward was that? God, I'm not a fan. I know you aren't either. When we have to do these like shoots and commercials.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys actually went to Viore the other day.
Yeah, I had to do the shoot. I was explaining that to them when we do that because a couple when we were in Viore, a couple people that worked there were fans of the show, so they were all excited for us to come in there and do that. And I was telling them just like how much we just don't like to do that. And they're like, really? Why? And I'm just like, I feel like everything that we do is authentic. I mean, it's just, we just come on here, we have conversation, we don't edit anything. It is what it is, right? It's the most authentic thing we do.
Like, okay, you're going to walk into the store.
I would never.
And that's why everybody roasts us on it
I know.
all the time. Because it's
I get it. I get it. And it's,
and I love their products.
Yes.
Love them. We've been with them for a long time.
Yeah. No, very valuable to the brand. They do a good, I will say this though.
Viore drip head to toe today.
Is that Viore?
Yeah.
The white one?
This is my favorite shirt they make. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What is it called?
I don't know.
We know what it is. Yeah.
Is that
Great
the Meta
sales
shirt?
pitch there.
Thank you.
Doug, find out what that is, please. Is that the Meta shirt? The t-shirt?
No. That's something else.
That one looks good.
Dude, it's perfect.
It's softer than
because it's got a thicker material too.
I got one too.
Yeah.
I got a brown one.
Yeah.
I have a brown one.
I don't think I have one.
It's
of
my
those.
favorite one they've
So
made.
it's like the t-shirts, but it's a little softer.
I can tell.
and
I
thicker.
think
it's a little softer and thicker,
but
yeah,
thicker,
than the,
but stretchy looking. It
Then
looks
the
comfortable.
Stratotech was the one I was wearing before. I remember that one, but I don't remember
that's
the name of
right.
this. Yeah,
That's what it was called. Yeah. So it's a little softer than the traditional Stratotech.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. But yeah, we're in there and they're like, all right, I'm going to film you walking in. Okay, now walk in again. Now I'm going to film you from this angle walking. I'm like, how many times am I walking?
Yeah.
And you're filming me.
Yeah.
And then I forget how to walk. When someone's recording me and I'm supposed to be walking in, I'm like, am I walking weird? Like, I never think of this.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't look like you're concentrating too much.
Yeah, dude. At one point I walked in with one hand in my pocket. I'm like, I never walk like
I
that.
forget how to like open doors when I'm doing stuff.
What do I do
like
with my
that.
hands?
And then we had to pretend like we were shopping for our wives.
Which you probably never have done.
Actually, I do all the time. I don't shop for her.
Yeah.
But if I'm at the store, I'll typically surprise
I'd like to see
her.
you pick up some leggings and just be like,
Yeah. Well, this
What
is
do I do?
That's
with
what I
this?
was. While he was recording, I was over there talking shit. I'm like, this guy has never done this before. He has no idea what he's doing right now.
I do. I know my wife's size and everything.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
If you know your wife's size, that's like should be a good like
Yeah. Well, just in
marriage trivia.
Just in like workout apparel though. Don't ask me like anything else. But like I know the bottoms for her. I know what the tops are.
Yeah,
All that stuff.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Oh, that's good.
But yeah.
Hey, speaking of relationships, I had something I was going to ask you guys.
What?
Started a conversation here. What is something that a past relationship has taught you about yourself?
I don't know. You go first.
No,
We think
no. You can't think of something in a past
on
relationship.
the spot.
I mean, were you that good? Were you that good of a guy that you just didn't like?
No.
You didn't have any. Well, of course. So it's like, is it just hard?
I gotta
to
narrow it down to
choose
the ones I want to share.
Mm.
Give me some time, dude. I can't just blurt some shit, some stuff out.
What about you, Justin?
not to be.
I'm gonna get you
as
two
much of
dubs,
a
you better
people
think.
pleaser.
Huh?
Not to appease and please all the time.
Oh.
That was a mistake I made with a lot of my previous relationships.
So what would you do? Like, what would be like an example of like
I'd
you were-
accommodate like all the things, like go to all the events and all the things that you.
But deep down inside, you
I didn't want to be there, and it wouldn't communicate it.
You were at the Britney Spears concert.
Yeah, just my shirt over my head, you know.
This sucks.
Yeah. this is
Now, would
horrible.
that lead to lead to later like resentment and fights later on, or just more Justin suppressing stuff?
Yeah, more suppressing thing. It more like, yeah, I just didn't feel like I was ever. I think I don't know if it was like resentment necessarily. It was more just like I didn't feel like as big of a part of the relationship. Like I was just like doing whatever to appease them. And I don't know. It gets to a point where you just don't you don't communicate anything you need at that point. It just becomes like the please this person show.
Yeah. You know, okay, so what is it like when it comes up now? Can you recall like what the conversation you have to have with yourself to work through it or help? Like, do you like, okay, here's one of those situations.
It's like
I don't
a
want to do
desired
this.
outcome thing. It's for me now. It's more like, is this like a point of contention that like is a pattern or something that I need to address? Like, I really don't like doing this. You know, do I need to express that and like stop that, or is this something that like, you know, I kind of balance it a lot now.
God, you and Doug are so similar in so many ways.
We are.
Yeah.
That is that's a thing that you have too.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say boundaries, setting boundaries in the relationship, because like Justin, I'm just trying to keep the peace, you know, keep the peace. But the boundary wasn't there. Yeah. And you get walked on, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very vocal about it now. I don't put up with shit.
Your other extreme.
Yeah, I went over the
No, I ain't doing
completely the other end of that. Yeah, I think because I just realized that it was pointless for me because I didn't feel like it was a team. It wasn't like an equal relationship. It was very like pedestal kind of thing. Yeah,
That's a good one.
there you go.
I don't. What's one for me? I don't like to share struggles or ask for help.
Yeah,
That's a
which
big
is
one
why
for
this is so difficult right now for you.
It's like, so we'll stop. No, I don't like. I don't like it. It feels very uncomfortable. If I'm useful, I feel like I can be loved. If I'm not useful, why would anybody like me, right? So this is like the challenge. So not being useful is like when you're useful to me. Well, now I feel like I'm a burden.
Yeah.
So I just don't share.
So what did that look like in past relationships? And then when it manifests today, like how do you?
Well, I'll tell you, it's when I was in my previous marriage, when I got divorced, most people in my family were shocked because they didn't know the struggles and challenges. They
you didn't share.
Never told anybody. So they just had no idea, and it was 10 years of struggle and challenge. So what does that look like now? Oh, now prayer helped a lot with that because it's impossible not to be honest and vulnerable when you're talking to the guy that knows everything. So so that helped a lot. And then I think I share more now than I did before.
Yeah, I think I think I've seen that in just the 10 years we've been together. I think I've seen you
Evolve.
open up and share those things that I didn't feel like you ever did when we first started. So that's pretty good.
What's yours? Did you have one?
I have a lot. Yeah, I've got all kinds of. I'm a mess. One of mine's attached to. We've talked about this before about insecurity of being successful, being smart, being all the things, and so I used to attract a lot of girls that I was like the daddy, the teacher in the relationship.
And you feel secure.
Yeah, and what's so hard about that is that it feels good. Right. So I would date these girls and, I have the answer. I got it, and I liked that. And it made me feel important, made me feel smart, made me feel that way. And then what would always end up happening is after months or even a year of dating that person, you realize how exhausting that is and how you're like, is this really the type of partnership that I want to be in? So it took a long time to realize how attracted I was to that thing that fed my insecurity. And to break that because again, it always initially makes me feel good. And so learning that that's not what I want in a partnership. And so a couple relationships before Katrina, so 2 relationships before her, I had pieces together. So I was about 27 when I finally figured it out because I could look back. And even though all the women that I dated were all very different, they all had that thing in common. They had that I was the teacher, I was the daddy in the relationship, and I thought I liked that. And then when I realized no, it was really difficult to go the other direction. It was actually initially those girls that I would try dating. It was I had to I didn't have a natural pull to them. I'm like, I need to try this. I need to try dating a woman that I feel I can learn from or that we can build together and do that. And so it was an uncomfortable, awkward. Now, by the time I got to Katrina, I had started to piece that together. And then obviously I see what happens when I find the right partnership that's not like that. Now, the challenge when I get the right partner like her, who is an incredible teammate that I can learn from, is then the old still wanting to be right and be daddy and be those things. And it's I know this is what I want and what I need for myself. So every once in a while when it rears its head that I feel I need that, it's to check myself in those moments. But I think it's so interesting how these two have such similar.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's an example of one serious girlfriend. I wasn't, there was a lot of different instances where I acted differently. It was weird. Yeah, so I wasn't always it was somebody that was I felt was outside my league.
Oh.
That I was like that with.
Okay.
And then it was
so you kind of felt like you needed to do all that stuff.
Yeah. And it was just that self-confidence I had, but it was when in that situation, I felt less than, so therefore I was trying to appease them, and do all this extra stuff. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then.
Did you break up with her?
No. Well, yes, and then went back to her like a total bitch, and then she broke up with me.
So she won.
Yes,
She won.
I let her win, dude. Fuck. Why'd you bring that up? No, I don't care, dude.
I know you're happy
I don't
right now.
care. I'm
That's
winning.
so great.
That's hilarious.
I looked up controversial parenting topics, Adam, per your suggestion.
Oh yeah.
And I have two of them that I think are probably
Ooh, let me hear
are
one
good
of them.
discussions.
Yeah.
One of them is for parental leave for fathers. So mothers get parental leave. Is this a good thing for fathers to do, to take a month off to be with their newborn?
Well,
What do you
I
guys think?
think the way you're wording it, how can you say no, it wouldn't be good? Do I think it's necessary, or do I think we should do it? No.
You don't think it's necessary?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's. So I think that, I mean, this is the one beautiful thing about a partnership and a relationship. I think we provide different things. I think in the early stages, the baby is so attached to the mother and the nurturing part that, you know, that I'm going to go out there and hunt. And when I get home, I'm definitely going to do all the things still, as I was with Max. But I don't think that's something that we necessarily. Now, you worded it though. Would it be good? Like, sure, it could be good. I could see it would be good, especially if you're in a position where you could financially do that and do. And we kind of were when we had Max, and so I did have the flexibility. You guys let me cut out of here early and do all those things. But I definitely don't think that should be a government funded thing that we decide that we're gonna like all pay taxes towards, so that guys can also take fucking 6 months off. Like, no, bro, go hunt.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
So
my take.
I
It's my
agree.
controversial take.
I agree, but I disagree for different reasons.
Okay,
so
I'm here.
I agree that it's not like a necessary. I think it's very important for mom to be there with baby, for the first few months. The data on this is very clear. I think it's obvious too. I don't think I need to make the argument. The baby's connected to mom literally, and then when the baby's born, still connected very closely. I think though it's important for fathers, not for the same reasons. I think it's important for fathers to care for mom. So mom's there for baby. Mom needs husband
That's an
to
interesting
care
point.
for her.
That's an interesting point.
And the data on a mother's health.
Do they parse out though, like having grandma there?
I was just going to say.
Okay.
Historically, how it's worked in societies forever was that grandma, sister was with her for a little while for that beginning stage. And the data on the health of a mother and how well she's able to, be a mom to her children is crazy. And these days, unfortunately, a lot of that falls on fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of that falls on the husband, because we don't live in communities like we used to. So many people are like, where's mom, where's mother-in-law, everybody lives far away. So
I totally agree with that, and that the point where I didn't even think of it from that perspective, and for that reason. That being said, though, that's a cultural problem that we have. That I think the solution isn't give dads this time off so they could do that. It would be more like express what you just said and get back to why it is so important that we have.
I think the cultural point is a big one, because what we've done is we value the pursuit of career so high that we've actually put it above things that are more important. And so it's like now people don't even consider how important that is. That you have that kind of support when you have a baby.
But I mean, I think that's part of what dad is hunting. If we take it back all the way, I mean, that's why you still keep doing that, because that's also, in a sense, providing for mom. Like that's that's number one. Like we don't got lights on. Like,
exactly. Go get a job.
So that's what I mean. It's like so most people do not have that. Most men aren't going to have that luxury to where they could take that off. And then the only way to give that luxury to all men would be to governmentally fund that. And that I don't agree with.
So it's a great discussion. I'm glad we're going here. So I don't know if couples, I don't know. I'm going to make a judgment. I could be totally wrong. But I don't think couples consider this and plan for it like the way I'm saying it. For example, we're going to have a baby. Let's save enough money so that I don't work for 30 days and I can be with you to support you. And I don't know I think what men think of, I need to get a job and have money to support you, but do they think I need to have enough to support you so I don't work for the first 30 days? Since my mom, your mom, sisters, nobody's around, I need to be here, with you type of deal. But I don't know. I think we've put it in like this we categorize it so strangely now, which is like, yeah, you're home for a week and then you go back to work and nobody's
I
here to help
wonder
mom. Type
what
of
the
deal.
statistics are on people that just live paycheck to paycheck versus people that actually save money.
They have statistics on that.
It's so high.
They have statistics on that.
So I mean, to have, I don't know, that's
You would never happen.
Yeah, it never happen.
So that's what. So all valid points you're making.
Yeah.
But that would require the relationship that we as a culture that we have with money,
Totally.
and that's not happening. So you know how if like let's say everybody listening agrees like
shift.
men should do that for all those reasons. Okay, well how do we do it? Oh, let's put something in place. Right. We wouldn't solve it the way we should, which is like, hey man, we should probably consider. Before we have this kid, I'm gonna squirrel away, a few $100 every single week or month until we do have a kid, so that I can afford to take off the time.
And here's why I'll back you up 100%. If it's not a cultural, societal thing and understanding, and we do make it so that men don't work for 30 days, there's a lot of guys that'll just do nothing.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, I'm off. Yeah, I'm here. But they're not. The culture isn't like, no, you need to care for mom,
right?
So she can care for baby,
right?
You need to make her feel safe and secure and healthy and feed her, because that's a tough period for if you don't have kids and you're about to have a child, like mom goes through.
Oh yeah.
Very difficult.
That's war.
It's very difficult.
That's like everyday war, no sleep all day long.
Feeding, baby stuck to you.
Yeah. So I mean, that's you bring such a good point up. Problem is that the solution to me is not like companies now.
It needs to be heart change.
Yeah, like because I would not agree as a company that we would pay taxes.
That's what you're trying to say.
Oh, you bet your ass I'm come. That's the angle I'm going to come from.
Our employees are
so you are not getting that.
No. Save your money.
Save your own money.
No.
But I think
that's a heart change thing. I agree with you.
Yeah. Good point. Good, interesting. That's controversial.
Very, very controversial. Absolutely. You have culture. There are cultures that this is a big deal. Yeah. Most of these cultures are homogenous, meaning like you go to some countries,
it's
the
not
culture,
blended.
Everybody's the same. Everybody has the same beliefs. Everybody has the same ideas. This is part of their culture. And if you're a man and you go to work, 2 weeks after you have a baby, your coworkers are looking at you
all
like
their
crazy.
families usually in like close proximity because they value that aspect of it. And it's already assumed within the family dynamic and the structure that the elders are going to come in, they're going to help out and all this work. And I mean, there's definite power in that, and it helps to benefit the kids' development. There's something there. It's just we don't have that established culturally here.
I heard a woman. I thought this was the best litmus test. She said the way we should judge ideas in society or government even is let's judge them by how they affect the most vulnerable of us, which are babies and children. So anytime somebody says, here's this idea that I have, how does it affect babies and children?
Interesting.
And the specific topic that she was talking about, but I love this litmus test for anything, was polyamory. Polyamory, a good thing. She's like, how would it affect the children of these relationships? That's how we should judge whether or not whether or not you think it's a good idea for you, but how would it affect the most vulnerable, which are
I love that.
I think that's a great litmus test for anything.
Well, a great lens to look through as far as making the decisions. That is similar to what I've said. One of the neatest things about having my son was it just changed the lens at which I looked through everything that I made a decision for. So when I didn't have him, the decision to work the extra hour or to go do the thing or buy the stuff or whatever was always just like me, my needs. Can I not, what I want. And that has shifted so much just simply by going like, oh, what would my son think, or how would I explain that to him if he ever asked me? So I always just try that. It's natural. I don't have to actively think about it. The first thing I default to is just like, okay, if my son was there and I had to explain myself why I did that thing, whatever, like how would I communicate that to him? And if I find myself fumbling in my brain
how do I defend this?
Yeah, defending it, it's just like, the answer is no, then it's not good, or it's not a good idea. And so I love that idea of looking through that lens, but just don't see us.
By the way, Left Turn, do we have applicants? Have we started looking at the applicants for training positions here?
Every day we are.
So we're still getting a ton. We're getting more.
Yeah, but I mean, bring them on though. I mean, Kyle and Katrina are consistently going through and taking interviews, and we're looking at everybody.
So if you work for Mind Pump, that means you're actually an employee of ours as a trainer or a coach. you are. This is an incredible place to work because of our abundance of leads. So the business is just incredible. That being said, one of the hardest places to get hired to be a trainer coach, straight up. But if you think you have what it takes, go to Mind Pump Personal Training. What is it, Doug? mindpumppersonaltraining.com/apply and see if you got what it takes. Everybody has to go through an internship process. I don't care how great you think you are. You're going to go through a period of being here for a little while for us to see if you're somebody that we would be happy representing Mind Pump. But if you think you got what it takes, you want to be a trainer here, go to mindpumppersonaltraining.com/apply. Seed is the world's best probiotic, hands down. If you want the benefits of a probiotic, better skin, better energy, of course, better digestion, go with Seed. Check them out. Go to seed.com/mindpump. Use the code 25mindpump. Get 25% off. Back to the show.
Our first question is from Shamunk7. How do I practice bracing for exercises like squats?
Do them?
Okay. Yeah. So, you know what's funny about this? This is one of those things. Well, I'll go over what you should focus on, but this is one of those things where if you focus too much on it, it becomes a problem sometimes. It's like, think about blinking, right? Now you're feeling weird every time you blink your eyes or whatever. It's like a natural thing. So bracing while you squat essentially just means you're just tightening up your core. Now, what does that look like? Well, pretend like someone's going to poke you in the ribs and you kind of brace up like someone's going to tickle you. That's what it's like. That being said, don't overthink it, because I've had people do this where they brace so hard the whole time they get fatigued by rep number 5. And I'm like, no. Like, you could breathe, like you could relax a little bit in between. Yeah. What you want to do is you want to brace when you're about to do the rep. So bars on your back, you ready to go down, brace your core, go down to the squat, come up, take a couple deep breaths. Now you can relax your core. Before you take the next rep, brace and do it again. That's for the people who find themselves feeling like, I don't know what to do. What you don't do is you pull in your midsection. I've heard people say that. That's not how you brace. And then also wearing a weight belt changes this completely. When you wear a weight belt, bracing looks different. You're actually pushing out against the belt with your core to create stability, which is a very different bracing technique than doing it without a belt.
You want to imagine somebody about to punch you in the stomach.
Yep.
I mean, and be able to breathe throughout that process. It's as simple as that.
So that's how I used to coach to a client, and I would actually have them figure it out, like, because the bracing part I don't find is the most difficult part. It's the breathing while also bracing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the way you practice that is like, okay, so I'm bracing right now.
Yeah.
So you should still be able to have dialogue and conversation while also creating that brace. That's the way you practice that, because if you are bracing so hard, you're holding your breath and you're getting exhausted.
Impeding on
that it's not right. Like, I should be able to brace and stand here or sit here and talk to you normal, and nobody else knows but me. I know that I'm bracing my core right now. If you can get to that place, that's what it looks like when you go into these movements like squatting and deadlifting, is you should be able to brace and still breathe.
Yeah. Now here's what it looks like when, if you want to get real technical, it's like before I do my rep, I take a deep breath in, brace, I go down. On the way up, I breathe out, but the breathing out sounds like it's coming out.
Like
it's coming out with intention and with bracing. It's not this loose breath out. Mm-hmm. At the top of the rep, you can relax a little bit and catch your breath and then do it again. And if you're strong, this is how you're supposed to lift. If you're strong, you brace, you breathe in, you brace, go down, tighten things up, come up. As you're coming up, you breathe out with this kind of real controlled, forceful type breath. But most people, I think, relax around this. So focusing too much on breathing and bracing leads to some weird bracing and breathing patterns.
Weird and dysfunctional, and you get lightheaded.
Yep.
Next question is from Chunky Beast. Can very dry skin and lips, despite constantly moisturizing, drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and lowering weekly weight training volume, be a sign of overtraining?
It can, but it's more likely a sign of something else.
Dehydrated.
Just imagine somebody's
I hate that.
Constantly doing
Can I just
that.
tell you guys how much I hate that?
Yeah, stop doing it. If you do that all the time, this is
I
a
hate
problem.
when I see dudes on like dating shows and they'll walk out and it's like doing like, what are you scheming? Like, what are you doing with your hands?
Yeah.
Anyway, This could be a sign of a B vitamin deficiency or a nutrient deficiency.
Could be signs of dehydration too, right?
It can, but they're drinking, 2-3 liters of
Yeah, but what
water
about
a
with
day.
sodium? Having some
Yeah.
sodium?
Maybe your electrolyte balance
Maybe bump
is
your
off.
sodium a little bit, but you look at your fatty acid profile. This will happen if your fat intake is too low.
Fat intake, yeah.
So if you're like, I've had female clients like this where they're afraid of eating over 40 grams of fat and they have skin issues. I'd have them bump their fat intake, and then lo and behold, their skin looked amazing. So look at fat intake. Look at nutrient deficiencies. B vitamin deficiencies can cause chapping of the lips and the tongue, or like redness on the tongue. And then maybe you need a little bit of sodium in your water. But if you're constantly dry, and skin and lips, there's something missing.
Next question is from Rainbow Mom 3. For those on a GLP-1, is it more important to hit your protein target or strength train? In the event you're struggling to consistently hit protein but are consistent with strength training. Ultimately, is that okay?
I like the caveat. I like the caveat because here's a person that says that they constantly struggle with protein intake, but they never miss workouts.
Right. It's for sure protein.
Therefore, what's important for them?
Protein. 100%.
If it was the flip, I always miss my workouts. My protein's great all the time.
Yeah.
Don't skip your workouts.
Right.
So this is an easy one, and this is a great illustration of the individual, value of these kinds of
That's the focus right there.
pieces of advice. If which one is the one that you miss the most? Well, that's probably the one that you need to be more
Especially in the context of a GLP-1, because you know that they're eating low calorie.
Yeah.
So if you're really low calorie and you're low protein and you're training, like you're going to break down muscle. You're going to lose muscle like that. And so hitting your protein intake is extremely important. And especially if you already say that you're really consistent with the workouts, it's like, yeah, you'd be better off missing that workout and hitting your protein intake than vice versa for this client.
That's right.
Next question is from Dad Fit Life. In today's world, it's easy for men to isolate themselves and sacrifice their hobbies and friendships for their family's well-being. How do you guys juggle responsibility as a father and husband while still keeping some friends and hobbies that you enjoy doing?
Here's what's interesting about this.
Nothing's balanced.
Yeah, and also things change. So the message that you can do it all, like you have kids, nothing changes.
Yeah,
the biggest lie.
That's horseshit.
That's crap. Your priorities change, and so things look different. I'll give you an example. If I'm an athlete, I'm a college athlete, and I'm working out. The reason why I'm working out is for maximum athletic performance. So my workouts are for that. Later, if I'm 60 and I want good mobility and health, my workouts are for good mobility and health. Therefore, they look different. I can enjoy both of them. I just have to take it and use it in a way that's valuable. All right, where am I going with this? Your family's well-being, your children and your wife are more important than the hobbies that you do. That's true. But if you partaking in hobbies allows you to be a better husband and father, well, then go for it. So if you're never doing anything for yourself and it's just making you angry and bitter and resentful and tired and whatever, you're going to be beneficial to your family by taking some of that time off and doing things for yourself. And friends can help with this. Men need other men to tell them when they're shit. This is one of the greatest values of having friends for guys is that your buddies that are close with you, they're the first ones that are look at you and go, bro, what are you doing? You're messing up. And you need that. If you don't have that, you don't have that.
You need to go fill your cup. You go fill your cup.
That's right.
I just think it's like what balance really is just shifting your priorities around constantly.
Yep.
And there's no way that you're going to nail it right at that moment in all aspects. So whatever, I always just look at it as like who needs me the most, and like, or where do I need to be the most, and where I see any kind of like deficits I need to address, whether it's in the family, whether it's in my extended family, friends, or if I need some time to myself. Like I have to kind of evaluate that constantly, and then just shift my priorities around and accommodate appropriately. It's just it's not something that like I don't know anybody out there that's nailed it. So a lot of people out there say they have, and it's like this is like one of these really annoying things for me to listen to from people that think that like, oh, I'm so successful. You don't unless you're constantly moving things around to make it work.
Well, I think you said that because I would say I've nailed this. But I wouldn't. But I also would say that you're right. It doesn't look like this perfect balance. Because that's like, in other words, if I looked at it,
doesn't look like single Adam.
It doesn't look. No,
that's what I mean.
It doesn't. So but it doesn't look like to Justin's point. It doesn't look like perfect 7 days of like on Monday I hang out with the homies. On Tuesday I'm like, it's like no, it's not
like a system.
What it looks like for me and why I feel that way that we've nailed this. One, I think that the woman I married has everything to do with this. She values that as much and values that I have that as much, and vice versa. Like, I always encourage her if time has gone by and she hasn't got away with the girls and done something. And same thing for her. She knows like I love to just go off and go drive by myself. And she will see sometimes when I'm buried into work and I'm out of balance because I'm so focused on the business right now. It's like, oh, I know my honey needs to go take a day off for himself. And she'll come tell me. She's like, hey, Friday, go take one of the cars, get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. And it's like, I'll go do that. And we do that for each other. We're always kind of watching, because we do friendships are extremely important to us. And I maintain quite a few really good relationships with my friends. So is my time with just my wife outside of with my child. And then of course I love being with my son and doing a lot of things. And so it never looks like a perfect balance, to Justin's point. It never is. But what it looks like is sometimes you're running a lot in one direction, and a good partnership is helping you always kind of evaluate
you
that.
Need somebody outside to really point that out.
Yeah. And so, and Katrina and I, we've actually we have rules in our relationship and one of the rules that we have is she has the autonomy at any time she feels that she will like block, she runs the calendar, that she'll mark off a day and like, I got to show up for that, whatever that thing is. And sometimes it's a family trip where the three of us go and do something. Sometimes it's just her and I, because we need to get our alone time. And sometimes it's you need to get the fuck out of here and go. And so, but she has that control, and I trust her to kind of be feeling the family dynamic always, to give me that feedback of I'm not getting enough of one of those things, because I can put my head down. It's a strength of mine. It's like I can focus on something and go like, okay, this is where I'm at. Now your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. So the weakness is that I can get so focused in that direction that I can lose sight of some of those other things. But having a partner who's always giving me those checks and balances and does that keeps what I consider balance, right? It makes me feel balanced about it, even though it's not real balance.
And there's seasons in life, I think, too. Changing your perspective helps you find joy in the season that you're in.
Yeah.
Because they're all different. This happened the other night. Dude. The other night, my 4.5-year-old, we were in bed and he's downstairs. He's got a little bit of a cold. And I'm upstairs. I'm like looking forward to some alone time with my wife. And, I love, being with her, just the two of us for, whatever. And so we're up there and he's calling up and he's having trouble falling asleep. And so my wife wasn't feeling good. So I'm like, I'll go down. I'll hang out with him. So I go down and he's like, no, I want mom. And I said, listen, I love hanging out with you, buddy, just me and you. And he goes, well, then let me have both of you. So I'm like, I can't say no to that, right? Yeah. So she comes down. Now, I could have been annoyed. And maybe that would have happened to me at some points where I'm annoyed and say, oh God, now we're doing this instead of hanging out, just the two of us. But instead, there's a shift and we're in bed and he's hugging us and he's so happy that we're with him. And it's like, this is going to end. Like,
totally.
This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's not going to be 15 years old with us laying in bed with him cuddling. That's just not going to happen at that if he knows it'd be weird, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. So it's a season. And so what that did for me is I became joyful.
You appreciate it.
I became joyful.
You appreciate it. Because there's going to come a time 18 years from now when it's just the two of you. All you got is the two of you. And you don't have a kid interrupted. Yeah. So a lot of this is framing, right?
A lot of it's framing.
It's how you frame these situations that you're in. I do think, though, I do, to the person's point, men can get this way, though, where they stop.
They really get isolated.
They get really isolated. Yeah. They lose their relationships with other men, and that is so important to do that.
It is.
Now, again, Katrina, we talked about this shit before we got together. Like, this was stuff that we knew where it was important to us. We both valued that, and so we've just never lost sight of that. Now there's seasons where you're more whatever because of whatever. It's just like having a newborn kid. Like your entire life is their newborn kid. And I have friends that when the kid comes, like you don't see him for a couple months. Yeah. It's like that's just part of it. Like
season.
And you know what they're doing. I don't hold it against my buddy because he's doing it, because I've done it too. When that time is happening, then that goes and you free up, and then you have more time to do stuff, and then eventually there'll come a time when they're all out of the house and all you got is time. And so I'm not upset that more of it's shifted with them, but I do think it's important to. I think balance is such a terrible word that people throw around, but I do think all of it is important.
You know where men tend to screw this up is they tend to place too much value on work and less on everything else. So where men tend to isolate themselves here is they bury into work. That was me. That was my value. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work like crazy. And then you lose sight of the other things that are very important. In my experience, that's what I've seen with men. I see less of the life.
It's either that, Sal, or like some guys, especially
I don't know. The hobby thing is real, dude.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say, Justin. Yeah. I see a lot of dudes that are fantasy football, hang out with their golf on their buddy on Saturday. They do all these things with the boys. I mean, I was that guy. I was that guy who. Every weekend, my boys were at my house or I was at their house, and we were talking. I mean, we were like the bros. 100% was that guy.
Activities or therapy for dudes.
And so, the video gaming is gone. The golf trips happen occasionally. But again, like trading that for what I am doing with my, like, I'll take a all day long building Legos with my son over any video game binger with my buddies or something like that. So to me, it's an easy sacrifice, but it doesn't mean I still don't maintain those relationships. It just looks different.
That's right.
It's not it's different because I have different priorities in my life, and I don't know. I think there's a way to still do all of it, but a lot of guys have built these routines around their hobbies, their life, and then they get married and have kids, and a lot of that goes because it's not realistic. It's just like, golf takes 10 hours, bro. Like you can't expect to golf every week anymore. Like, and some dudes do. I know guys that like
well, your trading cards get dust.
Yeah, but maybe that is the one thing that you do with your boys is always golf, but then the rest of the time is that. So there's ways to do both. It's just like trying to have your cake and eat it too all the time is a little ridiculous.
Yep. Look, if you like the show, come find us on Instagram. Justin is at Mind Pump Justin. I'm at Mind Pump DeStefano. Adam's at Mind Pump Adam. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.